Up everyone? Oh shit. I just got back from dropping Jackie off. She's having surgery today on her knee. Um, the vet had showed me last night when I took her that her entire leg would, like her where her knee was, would shift side to side like this. I almost threw up. It was disgusting looking. Um, so she's getting surgery today. The surgeon said that it was a highly successful surgery and that they have a very good success rate with it in fixing the problem. But basically, her kneecap is sliding back and forth, and it's just worn the cartilage off, and it's just bone rubbing on bone right now. So God knows it's got to be hurting her like crazy. So I dropped her off. They said the surgery takes about an hour and a half, and that I don't know. I have to wait a while to pick her up because the anesthesia she's got to wear off and everything. So I'll probably pick her up about 5, 6 o'clock tonight. Today is February 6th, 2019, and it is right about noon or just a little after. I just got back from dropping her off too, so she's been there for close to an hour. But everything should go good. I know she's okay with anesthesia because she had her teeth cleaned, and they had to knock her out for that too because I'm sure it's hard to clean a dog's teeth, especially Jackie's, as hyper as she is, with her not knocked out. So she did all right. I did a video of her before of her nodding out in the truck after the fact. So she should be okay with that. Of course, I'm still a little bit worried just because, my dog's having surgery. But anyhow, they said she should be okay. And they also said that her other knee has the same problem. But they rated on a scale of 1 to 4, 4 being the worst, and they rated her knees she's getting worked on at a 2, which I'm surprised they're doing surgery by this, mostly just because she had injured it so badly yesterday. I just wish I knew what had happened. I wish I had had a camera in here recording so I could see what she did exactly to hurt herself, because the vet had rated it a 2 a while ago, and she'd been fine for a while. So the other knee, they rated it at a 1, but sometime within they said, next 6 months to a year, she's probably going to have that one done, or she may not ever need it done at all. So, I don't know. Surgery's like roughly $3,200, which is pretty expensive. It sucks, but, I've spent so much money on her anyways that, before the surgery, in the last year and a half, I'm at about $20,000 right now. So this is going to put me close to $25,000 after this is all said and done. And it sucks. I know a lot of people probably wouldn't even go this far for their pet, but it's my kid, man. I don't have kids, and that's my baby. So, whoever had her before, I'm sure she was having health issues with them. That's probably why they just dumped her off at a damn gas station, which I don't know why they couldn't just take her to a humane society. They didn't feel like paying the $150 to have someone take her in, so they dump her out at a gas station that is literally one of the busiest places in the entire county as far as traffic goes. Route 30 is one of the busiest roads around, and that spot, because there's a hospital right across the street, is one of the busiest places in the entire county. And they just kicked her out of the car. So I don't know, it's kind of shitty of them. But anyways, I think I know what happened. Where I live now, I think I had found out that the water was making her extremely sick whenever I moved to my place I live now. And I know it sounds far-fetched, but I have heard, I've never heard anything like that before happening. But once I realized it, after I spent almost $10,000 in vet bills and emergency room bills, because she was just throwing up like crazy, and she had like watery poops, and it was bad. And then finally, and she was refusing the water. She would not drink the water. She'd turn her head away if I put it up by her. And they said that for a long time they thought she had something stuck inside of her, and that she's going to have surgery for that, they thought. Well, if that was the case, they said that she would have a lack of thirst. So I assumed that was what was going on, so I was force-feeding her water with the medicine plunger, and come to find out it was the water that was doing it. So I was perpetuating the problem and ended up causing, myself a lot of extra money here. Once I found out, I tested it again to make sure, and sure enough, that was the problem. But once I started buying gallons of water from the store after that, she was fine. No more problems with that. So I don't know if it was something bad in the water, if it just has too much chlorine in it or too much fluoride or whatever it may be, but it just does not set well with her. Well, the people that had her, I think that they lived pretty close to where I do because the gas station was right down the street from where, I'm assuming she came from. And I think they probably had the same problem. She was probably throwing up all the time, and instead of trying to figure it out, they just dumped her off, which, as shitty as it is, I'm kind of glad they did it because I wouldn't have her otherwise, But, being that she's okay and she didn't get hit by a car or anything, at least I got to end up with her, and it sucks for all these vet bills, but, I don't know, I love her. It's my best friend. It's my kid, so I got to do what I got to do. And some people look at me like I'm crazy, but I am. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of a little bit out there, anyways. But I couldn't. I couldn't get rid of her. I couldn't abandon her. She already had that happen once, and I couldn't do that to her. I wouldn't do it to her. I mean, hell, I'd probably feel just as bad as she did, if not worse. So, anyways, we're struggling on through it, but we'll get there. And I love her. And when I pick her up, I'll do a video of her because she's gonna have to wear the cone of shame for about 10 days. So I'll make sure and get a video of that because it's probably gonna be pretty funny looking. Although today she's probably gonna be pretty drowsy anyways because of anesthesia. So anyhow, I just figured I'd let people know what's going on. And hell, I don't know. I should probably try to start a GoFundMe page, but I don't really like asking people for money anyways. So, everybody's got their own problems and they have monetary issues and everything anyways. So, I don't feel right asking people for money. So, anyhow, we get there. We do have insurance though. We finally, after all the crap with the water went on, she's had allergy problems. She's got a very sensitive stomach. She might have irritable bowel syndrome. And she just got over pancreatitis. We had blood work. I had blood work ran last night to make sure that the pancreatitis was gone, so I could quit worrying about that. And everything came back negative, so that is done and over with, thank God. And she started drinking water again as of 2 days ago. I had to take her to the emergency place Saturday night because I was stuck at work all day Saturday, and I couldn't get out till after my regular vet closed. They closed at 2 o'clock on Saturdays. So I took her over and, they gave her some fluids on her skin to make sure, because I was afraid of her being dehydrated, and she was a little bit. It wasn't drastically dehydrated, but enough to where she had to, have some fluids put on her skin. But I know for an animal being dehydrated can be extremely serious if it goes too far, and it can go far fast. So I'm glad I called the vet Saturday and they told me make sure I get her seen that day. And we had an issue with the water main breaking underneath the busiest road in town where I work. So that was fun. But thankfully, a guy came in for me, so I got to leave. Once we got the problem fixed, I was able to leave about 2 hours early. Well, no, I'm sorry, an hour early because I ended up having another issue at somebody's house with a broken water meter. So I still was stuck there for another hour or so, but I at least got to get out of there a little bit early, thankfully. I got her taken, and she got looked at, and I'm glad I took her because she definitely needed fluids. So they don't give her an IV. They just put fluids up under her skin on the back of her neck, and she looks like a hunchback for a while. And but it goes down pretty quick. It went down pretty fast. Like half of it was gone. The first half of it was gone by the time they finished it because she was that low on fluid. But anyhow, that's where things stand right now. So whenever I pick her up, I'll do another video. But like I said, she's had so many problems. And it's like, the money sucks, but I just feel bad for her because it's just like she can't ever... The cat's about to attack his own tail. He's over smacking it like it's a snake trying to bite him. He's even got his back foot raised up so it don't get him. But that's just all the time. There's always... the first 5 months I had her, not a single problem. As soon as I started bringing her to this place, it's just all hell broke loose, and I just feel really bad for her. But she should at least recover from this and end up being okay, thankfully, because when I saw her yesterday, I panicked. I mean, she was trembling, all her whole body. She was shaking, trembling. She couldn't stand up. I mean, she couldn't even hardly sit up. And she wouldn't walk. I mean, she comes flying at me when I come in, and I just immediately thought the worst. A good friend of mine had just gotten a really bad diagnosis about his dog recently, and I love his dog. His dog is wonderful, but it was a bad thing they found out. And so when I seen Jackie acting the way she was, my mind immediately went to the worst, thinking the worst of the worst. So thankfully it was just this, and the surgeon said too that if she had to have problems with anything with her knees or legs or whatever, that this is the best possible scenario for her to have, because it's the most highly successful surgery that they do, and they do them all the time. This guy's been in practice for a very long time. He just opened a new office, and I mean, I live in Northwest Indiana, but we're still part of Chicago. Like, the top 3 counties are all part of Chicago. We got Chicago time, Chicago weather. I mean, we're Central time. The rest of Indiana is Eastern time. But since we're so close to Chicago and so many people commute to Chicago to work, thankfully we got the same time zone. But Chicago weather, Chicago news, Chicago everything. Chicago television, Chicago radio, everything. So even though we're in Indiana, we're still considered part of Chicagoland. So I guess people come from Chicago, though, out here to see this guy, too. And they had some cancellations today, thankfully, because there's supposed to be a lot of icy roads or an ice storm or something happening today, so people canceled. So thankfully it worked out the way it did, and I took off work today instead of tomorrow because she was able to get in today without any issues. Yeah, it's crazy, though. I mean, if you were to get on top of a tall building, as long as you can clear the tree line, you could actually see the skyline of Chicago from here. That's how close we are. I mean, I think downtown Chicago is only probably about 20 miles away. And if there was no cars on the road at all, I could get from my door to downtown Chicago in 20, 30 minutes. I mean, it's driving fast, I could get there in by 20 minutes if and that includes like getting to the highway and getting on. So we're pretty damn close to Chicago. But anyhow, I'll let everybody know what happens when I pick her up. I'll do a video of her with her cone on because I'm sure it's going to be funny. She'd be nodding out like she just did a bunch of dope or something. But, I don't know. I'll talk to y'all in a little bit.